Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and today we're going to do a little NFL draft first round recap. Actually, the draft's, where are we at right now? Pick 24 right now, I think. So we were hoping to have a little bit of fantasy football implications to talk about, but hasn't really happened yet, Jeff, has it? It's just weird how, like, we're talking running backs and wide receivers matter completely to us in fantasy football, but I guess they don't matter at all in the real NFL anymore. There's no one's been picked yet. Not one running back, not one receiver. A couple quarterbacks, and then just the one tight end, or the two tight ends now, both Iowa tight ends. Oh, so as a Lions fan, how do you feel about, we'll start there. I'm not worried about the quarterbacks yet. I know you're not a big fan of this Hockenson pick.
New coach, same bad decision.
Is it though, or are we just jaded?
Everyone seems to love this guy, but I am jaded. We picked Ebron in the top 10, and the thing I don't like about drafting tight ends, yeah, they can work, but they usually take years to come around and, do well, and especially for someone that they keep hyping up his ability to block. I feel like the position has come a long way, and I think it's supposed to be more of an offensive-minded position now. And last year, you saw a lot of really good guys, come out of the block slowly. I mean, they were talking about Gesicki that went to Miami. He was an uber athletic tight end that could really catch the ball and do really exciting things coming out of Penn State. And he didn't do a whole lot of anything last round. And he was in Miami, but still, Goddard. He looked good in flashes, but obviously he was behind Ertz, so we're not sure. And we're talking about before, you kind of look way back and you think Vernon Davis and other players that have been drafted in the first round and how it's just a tough position to be drafted there. So, yeah, Would I rather have a defensive player and then try to get a tight end later? Absolutely, but that's just me.
I think he'll be okay. I don't know.
I feel like he can't just be okay in the top 10.
I know. He has to be Gronk.
You have to be, yeah.
This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to get Gronk. Oh, here we go. Actually, a little break in the action. Raiders are picking, and they're going to pick someone fantasy relevant, actually. They're going to pick Josh Jacobs right here.
Oh, there we go. Oh, wow. Well,
so
a lot of our sleeper picks are going to get.
Yeah, so there goes Chris Warren that we talked about last week. Just forget about him. So let's say, okay, this is the biggest news right now. Let's say fantasy-wise, this is the biggest one. So Josh Jacobs is going to be the first running back off the board, it looks like. And they don't have Marshawn anymore. They signed Crowell, which I'm not, whatever. Crowell's nothing to me. I'm not worried about him. So it's going to be, Jacobs could probably start here, but I don't know if that's even, how good is that, though, with this team?
I don't know. I mean, obviously I like Josh Jacobs. The question is this, even if you think that the offensive line is going to be average, right? So average as far as the NFL goes. A starting running back would still be able to get you a good amount of points. He'd be worth having on your team, without a doubt. Do you believe or do you not believe in Crowell so much that you would throw all your weight behind Josh Jacobs? Or do you think that because he's a rookie, you're still feeling it out even though you don't believe in Crowell?
I have no idea what John Gruden's going to do.
I mean, that's also very true.
I think that it's probably not going to be a full workload type thing, but he's better than Crowell. I think it's just, if he's going to show it, he's going to get all the work. And I think I'm not comfortable with this though, fantasy wise even. I'm not thinking this is, the last couple of years we've had a rookie running back who we're all just huge on, and it's good. We think he's going to be great. I don't know, because I don't like the situation. I don't like the offense. They haven't done anything. I mean, what do they even have on offense right now? I mean, other than, I don't like it. I mean, I guess they have Antonio Brown, but he's kind of like something. I think Antonio Brown's just going to be a headache. I don't know if it's actually going to work.
Yeah, well,
that's why I'm just not buying it.
I mean, who is going to blame you to have doubts about this team after they were so bad last year? Gruden was on there. They did have talent. They had to trade away Amari Cooper. I mean, it was kind of a fire sell.
All right. But, okay, now I'm going to think about it. Try to get all the extra stuff out of the way. And then it's Derek Carr, who had a lot of promise. It is Antonio Brown, who's been the best receiver in the league, even though he's been kind of a moron this offseason. I'll say that. I don't know. He's calling out Juju now, too. It's just like, what the heck's that guy doing? Tyrell Williams as the second receiver. This offense could be better. You know, maybe Josh Jacobs does have a chance here. So, no, it's interesting, though. It's just the one team that's such a just wild card. You just don't know what to think with them. You really don't. But they needed a running back, though. I like the move. I like the pick.
Yeah, I think he's a solid running back. And you didn't have to pick. I mean, you picked him really late in the first round. That's a fine place to take a running back. So I have no issue with it. But,
he's probably
the Raiders are tough.
He'll probably be the only one going in the first round here at running back, I bet. I don't think there's going to be any more. I'm surprised, though.
Well, yeah, they also reached for their first pick, but we don't have to talk about that.
Yeah, maybe he'll be fine, but they didn't have to pick him there.
Right.
Probably could have picked him here.
So I have to ask you. So 3 quarterbacks did go. Do any of them have any sort of relevance whatsoever?
I think Kyler Murray might. I really do. I think he can run around. He's just dynamic, I think. He's interesting. He's really interesting to me. He's going to start right away, obviously. I think he's for sure going to start right away. I mean, now their backups like Brett Hundley or something. Obviously, Murray's starting right away. And then I think this helps David Johnson. I've always thought a mobile quarterback has helped the running back out, and David Johnson could be in for a big year. I think Murray is really going to be fantasy relevant right away. I mean, maybe he's not better than Lamar Jackson, but I feel like he's better than Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson, fantasy-wise, was actually pretty decent just because of his running ability. With the passing really wasn't there yet. I think Murray's going to be better than that even. I like him. I'm a big Kyler Murray fan. I just think he's going to be good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pulling for him. I hope he is, but I do have reservations about saying fantasy relevant right off the bat because I don't think he's going to run like Lamar Jackson did, and you still have to kind of get your legs under you as far as throwing the ball in the NFL. And he does have a few weapons. David Johnson is definitely going to help, but at the same time, you have an aging Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
You got some prospects. I like it a little bit, but I just think quarterback is really deep right now, and that name is going to evoke a lot of excitement. But I think that might be just one of the guys that gets drafted before I'm willing to take one, and I'm totally fine with
that's
that.
probably the truth. Like people will get too excited about it and like pick him way before they should. I don't think he should be picked, honestly, in any kind of draft. There's just no way he shouldn't be. But I mean, I'm excited about it. I do think it helps David Johnson though. He'll be in a better situation than he was. But I guess there's really not much else. Because Fitzgerald's still there, but I mean, what is Fitzgerald now? I mean, hopefully Christian Kirk steps up, but
yeah, I mean, he has to. That's what it comes down to, really. So yeah, that's interesting. And then what about New York?
Oh God.
First of all, if you don't want Haskins, I'm okay with that. But I mean, maybe they couldn't trade down. But I was very confused by this pick. And I know that you had heard rumblings because you had mentioned it right before the pick happened. But I mean, really?
I mean, I heard they liked Daniel Jones, but I thought that was meaning maybe they'll get somebody else at 6 and try to get Jones at 17, or maybe they'd even trade back out of 6 a little bit further and get Jones. But man, they really must like him. They really like that whole Manning, that connection with the Cutcliffe as this coach, and was Manning, was that Eli's coach, and the whole connection they must like. But I don't know. Daniel Jones, he might be okay, but there's nothing like special, I thought.
No.
Not for the 6. I mean, just they should have traded back.
Yeah, it actually bums me out a little bit because I think if Haskins went there, and I'm not saying that he's going to be the greatest rookie of all time by any means, but if he went there with the weapons that they still have, even though Odell left, but you still have Ingram, you still have Shepard, you have obviously Barkley in the backfield, which can help a young quarterback out a lot. I thought he could have really done well, and I think the second half of the year, there was a good possibility he could have taken over for Eli. So I thought he might have been somewhat relevant, but didn't. They took the guy from Duke, and who knows, maybe he is a really good talent. And then Haskins falls to Washington, which you're just like, whew. I mean, they do have a good offensive line, but at the same time, you don't have a whole lot of weapons to throw it to quite yet. We don't know what Geis is really going to be. Peterson's pretty old in the backfield. I mean, who do you really have to throw to on that one? Daxton really hasn't shown too much. Crowder's there, which is okay.
There isn't a lot.
No.
I mean, the thing, well, I guess in the draft, a lot of these wide receivers are falling now, so maybe they can get one in the second round.
It's very true.
There's no wide receivers yet, unless the Ravens pick one right here.
I was going to say, the Ravens, they really could use a wide receiver. Is that who you think they're going to take?
Maybe. We'll find out. I mean, which one, though, if they do go one? Is it going to be Brown? Is it going to be people Metcalf? Is it going to be, who's it going to be? I don't know. I feel like they could draft one here, but maybe not. They'll probably get Montez Sweat. He's still out there, too. Maybe it'll be him. But, okay, yeah, they're showing the top wide receivers on the board right now, and they must be thinking they're going wide receiver as well here. That'd be maybe a good pick, but we'll see. But yeah, the Haskins thing, I'm not a big Haskins fan. Not.
No?
Just not.
What is it about him? Was it the 5 touchdowns he threw against the team?
I'm not talking about any kind of, I don't care who he played for. I mean, okay, I guess there is one thing, like we were talking about earlier. So 2 Michigan defensive players were picked early, and yet Haskins put up 60 on that defense.
But he dropped.
Yeah.
And the first wide receiver finally came off the board.
Did they pick one?
Yep, and it's Marquise Brown.
Okay, it's Brown.
Oklahoma.
All right, so
that guy is incredibly fast, and if he stays healthy, he is going to be a very fun player to have. Can you imagine?
I like that pick. That's a good one.
Now you have Lamar
Jackson,
and you'll have Marquise Brown, who is an absolute burner. And then you have Ingram in the backfield now with him.
And they have the tight ends.
And
they got the two second-year tight ends.
I mean, they could have turned this offense around very quickly.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I really do. That's but okay, who else is there a wide receiver? He's like clearly the number one, isn't he?
I mean, yeah, depending on what you want. The injury concerns are real because he is a smaller wide receiver, but you're not going to find anyone faster, I don't think. So that's good. But yeah, I think for Baltimore, unless you're going to take a project player with DK Metcalf, he would be the only other person that would rival it just because of his pure, physical talent.
I mean, he's their number one receiver right away because they have Willie Snead, and they have Chris Moore. Those are their other 2.
Yeah,
that's it. So it's Brown. It's then really Mark Andrews and Hayden Hurst are the targets at wide receiver. But I like this pick. They needed it. They definitely needed this. Lamar Jackson needed somebody to throw the ball to. Maybe he can actually do something if he has a chance. But I like this pick a lot.
Especially someone who can take the top off the defense. Can you imagine being able to back off the safeties, especially with how crazy Jackson can run the ball? I mean, it would be crazy if they can't just stack the box. They could really do something here. So I really do. I think this was probably this is a great landing spot for Marquise Brown, even though he's going to be going with a running quarterback, someone that's kind of unproven. So I think he is going to be fantasy relevant immediately. But to what extent will be the question. I'm not going to jump him way up there, but he is going to be a late round fantasy type player that you grab and you put him on your bench and you're like, he could be something special, especially after the first few games of the season.
All right, so let's see. Are the Redskins up next?
It should be Colts.
I know, but I'm showing Redskins now. Why is mine showing Redskins?
Maybe
That's
they
weird.
traded up.
Well, it's weird because it's still saying Colts on the board, but then the little ticker showed Redskins. So I think if the Redskins are trading here, are they going to get that wide receiver?
They might.
Here's Haskins' weapon, maybe.
That would be,
maybe not though.
That would be huge though.
Maybe the Brown went off the board. They said, okay, now I got to get a.
I do have the DK Metcalf just screams Washington, where they always love to just make a splash, get these guys, but they never know how to develop them.
Yeah.
It just seems like that would be the perfect pick for him.
I'm feeling it. Maybe this is wide receiver. I mean, what is their depth chart looking right now? So I got to pull this up here.
You know what I love too, as you look that up, Seattle actually moved back. They traded to Green Bay, and they grabbed a few more picks. So they will have the 29th and 30th pick.
Oh, wow.
We're on the 26th. With one of those picks, they can absolutely grab a top 5 wide receiver, where there's some talent up there. That would be a great landing spot for someone someone that they do need. So I'm really looking forward to see how that plays out, because if they get the right guy, that he could be an immediate fantasy value too.
Ooh, the Redskins, they have to draft wide receiver here, don't they? Right now it's Paul Richardson, it's Josh Doxson. Right?
Yeah.
Josh Doxson's a bust. 100%. We gave him a shot a couple years in a row. So he's done. Paul Richardson's he's okay.
Yeah, he's a solid wide receiver.
He's fine. But not a number one. I don't even know if he's number two in my mind. He's maybe a number two at the moment. Maybe.
Yeah.
And then they have Jordan Reed. Can you count on Jordan Reed?
Yeah, he's an injury prone.
At all.
I mean, he's a talented dude.
So, yeah, they have to draft a wide receiver here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like they have to. They have to get that wide receiver for Haskins. Because it's it. They have to do it. Unless he's not going to play right away and they're going to have Keenum play. Which they very well might.
They might.
Haskins might sit.
They do still need someone for whoever is quarterback to throw to.
And there's a...
And they already picked up, they already did quite a bit for the defense as well, right? So they got Collins at safety in the offseason.
I'm trying to see what they're going to do.
And their first pick was obviously Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, they have to go wide receiver. It'd be the smartest move. And then the Raiders are up next again. Maybe the Raiders.
Finally, we're finally getting to a few people we can talk about. We have to wait for it.
Before that, the only other player that could be fantasy player is Noah Fant from the other tight end from Iowa. He went to Denver. I don't see that being much of a player to even consider in fantasy right away. Tight ends they really aren't. I don't think Hawkinson will quite be that either. So I don't think either of them is great, but that kind of ruins my sleeper pick of Jake Butt at tight end, or I was thinking, kind of, I think ruins that. I think that means they don't think, the guy has had like 3 ACL surgeries, 3 ACL injuries, so it's kind of done there, but I'm not terribly excited about that one. But I don't know, Flacco throwing the ball to Noah Fant.
Yeah, we kind of knew this, right? We knew that this was going to be a defensive-heavy draft, but for some reason I still thought that it would be a little more of a mixture than this would be, and I'm starting to think that this might be the first draft in a long time where rookies really don't play a huge part.
I don't think they like the rookie running back thing has been so crazy the last couple of years in drafts. I don't think it's going to be this year.
There's not a standout.
No.
Every year there's been an absolute guaranteed number one guy. And I know a lot of people will say Josh Jacobs is that, but I don't think so. I think he's a good player, don't get me wrong.
People have been going nuts over we tried to caution people a little bit last year when everyone's going nuts over Ronald Jones and, all those guys.
Yeah.
And Rashad Penny. And actually I can remember everybody now because there were so many of them and everyone was.
Geis.
Yeah, it's like, who knows, maybe Geis would have done something, but trying to caution people against that, and they just...
Unless you're one of these unbelievable talents, and there's usually one per draft in the past 5 years, right? And Gurley was one, Saquon Barkley was one, Gordon was one, even though
Fournette was
one.
There's been one for a while. This is the first time, dynasty drafts. Who's the number one? Like, what are you doing at dynasty draft this year? Think about this. There's been in dynasty rookie drafts. There's been a clear-cut guy every year. There's really no debate.
Wow, I haven't given it a whole lot of thought.
That's not
obviously you want to see where they go, but Josh Jacobs is not going to be the number one overall pick.
Or is he? Like, I don't.
Really, is he?
Is it going to be one of the wide receivers?
It could be a guy that gets taken in the third round for all I know at this point. Because it's more about where they go than the talent at the
Or is this the year somebody wants to go get Kyler Murray?
That's the worst idea, really.
Got music playing, Jeff. It's draft time, man. But no, I don't know. Like that's really interesting. This is the first year where I have no clue where that's going to go, and I don't have the number one pick in any draft, so I feel okay. I don't have to worry about that, I guess. But it's interesting. Who else is there? There's
this is the wonderful thing. Then, if you do have that pick and you're able to trade it, that's the move, right?
I think so. This is remember at one point it was a year ago. Like Bryce Love was supposed to be dominant. He was supposed to be way up there, but he just is nowhere around there
Yeah.
anymore.
And for the 26th pick to Washington, Montez Sweat.
Okay.
So he just
They
dropped
didn't go with the
wide,
wide
but they didn't
receiver,
go wide
though.
receiver.
So Haskins still has nobody to throw the ball to. It really doesn't. Maybe they're not planning on having him start this year.
I'm just getting excited for Seattle that is about to come up. And then I love it too because the Patriots are just sitting down there at number 32.
Where they always are.
Yeah, and they're going to get a very good player.
Shoot, maybe they get like DK Metcalf.
They could.
Can you imagine that?
And then develop him. That would be the best landing spot for the guy.
After they trade for Josh Rosen.
That would also be hilariously amazing. Also, this is my thing too. If you know you're getting Kyler Murray, why? I mean, and maybe this is just me being completely naive, but why wouldn't you get a trade in place for Rosen ahead of time? I mean, unless there's just absolutely no market for him.
It's odd because you do feel like by making after you make the pick, his value drops. Rosen's value drops because they know you have to get rid of him.
Exactly.
It is kind of,
you don't have as much leverage anymore.
yeah. It is. 20 seconds ago on Twitter, there's a article that says Patriots aren't interested in trading for Josh Rosen. Literally 20 seconds ago. So that's goes and ruins that idea. I don't know why they wouldn't be interested, but yeah, I feel like that really did kill his value. But hey, I'm thinking maybe there just wasn't any deals out there.
Well, they're obviously
Not a good one, not one they liked. It's going to probably be a second round pick. I bet you tomorrow he'll be drafted, tomorrow night I bet you he'll be traded. Somebody in the second round will go for him. I don't know who that is now because the Giants got their quarterback, Redskins got their quarterback. Miami needs a quarterback.
Right. And also another reason to trade him early because you can go, I mean, and maybe they did approach all those teams and I'm not giving them enough credit. But I don't know, that is very worrisome that you burnt a top 10 pick the year before.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Miami. I'm trying to think of another option right now. Patriots could be, but I really don't think that'll actually happen.
Unless Miami, I mean, there's still time left. I mean, Locke is still out there for this draft. Miami could go out and get him for the future.
But if you can get Rosen on a second round, third round pick, I think you'd do it.
The third round pick I think that would be wonderful. I absolutely would do that. Even if he just turns out to be a glorified backup, you're not giving up too much.
And it's not like the old days here where the first round picks of quarterbacks, their contracts were just out of whack. He used to be on the Lions got Stafford. He was like one of the highest paid players already.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, like I didn't obviously want to use him for fantasy, but there were moments where he looked all right. I think he does have the NFL talent. So I don't know if he's just a very unlikable guy. I don't know what it is.
I think that's honestly some of
Either
it.
that or Kyler Murray is the most likable guy of all time.
Kyler Murray's just interesting. Like we just don't.
He
He could be really special. People think.
But that's why the draft is so dangerous and why teams like the Patriots always trade back and always get just a bunch of talent, even though they don't get the top guys. And this is, I feel like Arizona, if they have their guy, if they have their franchise quarterback, good for you. Great pick, right? But if you didn't, I mean, you could have turned those 2 top 10 picks 2 years in a row into, absolute gold, and you didn't.
Yeah, did Rosen even have a shot?
That's the question. I mean, how much did you actually
Obviously,
believe in the guy?
well, obviously they think the coach was an issue if they got rid of the coach after 1 year. So who was the problem? Is the coach the problem? Is the quarterback the problem? Just everyone but the GM, he gets to stay. He's fine, right?
And and I wish I remembered the name, but there was a person on YouTube who actually created a video, and he went very in depth about the system and the coach that is taking over for the Cardinals, and obviously the system and the offense that has been kind of taking college football over by storm, and how Kyler Murray fits that offense very well, because obviously in Oklahoma they run that. They ran it with, Baker Mayfield. So they've been turning our quarterback. So I think he fits the scheme really, really well. But to his point as well in this video, he talked about how Rosen had a lot of those qualities too, about being able to fit the ball into a tight window at times. And Oh man, I get it. I get about going after and getting your guy to make sure that your offense, your style of play, is going to work. But man, you got to. I feel like you have to get rid of Rosen. You have to get something for him.
Yeah.
And the Raiders did not take an offensive player, so
We got a safety.
this first round is not going our way.
I mean, who the heck is this guy they just picked? Is he
Jonathan Abram.
most likely a second-round talent, I'm guessing, just because it's the Raiders?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they seem to do. Maybe he's fine. He's probably decent to just get bored when it's a safety.
I know. So now the Chargers are on the clock, and then Seattle has 2 picks in a row, which I'm very excited for. But since we do have a moment here, why don't we catch up on a little NFL news?
Oh, geez.
And
It's
I
not
believe,
much, but...
I believe you have a very disturbing,
Oh,
yet
man.
Unfortunately, could be very important to fantasy, but
Tyreek Hill's a terrible person. That's about it. I don't know
Apparently.
what else is... I mean, right? So this audio merge. Look, everyone knows the situation going on. There's some investigation. Did he break his son had a broken arm? And how did this happen? And oh God, yeah, this is in the 11-minute audio clip. One of the things it says it's him and his fiance are discussing the beatings he gave his 3-year-old son, who is now terrified of him. And so what he said to her is, "You need to be terrified of me too, bitch." Said to add that. This is messed up, man. This
very
is messed up. The dude's beating his kid.
and
And
honestly,
he needs to go. He needs to.
Am I incorrect?
Man, release this guy.
Before the audio came out, was it the NFL or was it the team that said that nothing was going to happen to him because?
Yeah. No. They said there was going to be no charges. There was going to be no charges. They didn't have enough evidence for that. But man, this is.
And
this guy just needs to go.
This is also the team that cut Kareem Hunt, and yes, he did get in an altercation with a woman. But if this is true about Tyreek Hill, Hunt looks like a Boy Scout compared to what's going on here. So if that holds true, more than likely he is going to face severe consequences from Kansas City. Which, if that does, say they do kick him off the team, what does that do for the look of KC?
I'm just reading more stuff. I'm sorry. This dude's messed up.
Too depressing.
Oh man, I don't get this guy. They just need to get rid of him. But yeah, this is they don't have him. They don't have Kareem Hunt. Is Patrick Mahomes just that good where it's not going to matter? Sammy Watkins is good.
Well, I don't think Hunt. I think Hunt is a good player, but I don't think
that didn't matter as much.
That doesn't matter.
Williams and Hyde are going to be fine.
Tyreek Hill
he
is
really
a
is.
different type of player, and you force the defense to guard him, and you can stretch the defense. You can take the top off. He's just that fast. He's that athletic. If you don't have him, you do have Sammy Watkins if he can stay healthy, which he has yet to be able to, unbelievably. But
oh man, this guy.
It does. It becomes an issue all of a sudden. I think they'll be fine, but they definitely won't be as dynamic as they were last year. They still have Kelsey, so that's great.
Oh yeah, Kelsey's good.
But
this guy, no,
it definitely does take.
I think they need to release him. I think no one should sign him. This is messed up, man. The DA does say that he believes the crime occurred, but the evidence in the case does not establish who committed the crime, so that's why Tyreek Hill's not being charged. Basically, this dude's messed up. But this, the fiance is saying he is in the audio about the boy. He's like, he's terrified of you, and then he goes on to, oh my God, she goes on to say that, telling the boy has been repeatedly saying that, telling her that daddy punches me.
Oh my God.
This is messed up, man. It says, and then she says, which you do when he starts crying. You make him open up his arms and you punch him in the chest. And then if he gets in trouble, you get the belt out. It's a 3-year-old boy.
Jesus Christ.
This dude needs to be released, man. Like 100%. I'm about to release him from my dynasty team.
That's messed up.
I can't though because I'm selfish. But it's messed up. I know it's messed
so
up.
Dark.
That's messed up, man. But no, that's messed
Yeah.
up. I don't get that, man. I have a 3-year-old. I know it. Like, man, that's so, like, this is like, oh my God, man. I want to punch him in the face. Except, I know I wouldn't last.
He'd punch you back.
I'd be hurting, but This dude is messed up.
It's very dark.
I mean, he was beat. He's the one. This is the one who beat up the same girl, the same fiance. I think it's the same one back when he was in college. Man,
Yeah, that's right. Oh my God. Yeah,
he's a bad guy. I don't care.
It's just very, very sad.
He's a bad man. He needs to just go. He's not playing next year. He's done. Like, the NFL can't let this guy play. After that,
they've cracked down, and
you can't let him play.
Yeah, if any of this checks out, which I think it will.
That's him on the tape, man. He's done.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad.
Oh, man, this is messed up. What's to do? Yeah, the Chiefs, man. Sammy Watkins. That's actually Sammy Watkins could be could benefit in fantasy purposes for this. Except you can't trust Sammy Watkins.
No.
Like even slightly.
When is Casey's first pick in the draft?
At the end of the second, I believe.
End of the second.
So like 61 or something like that they picked.
It would be really funny to see them trade up and you're like, yep.
Well, I mean, right now, so don't expect them to have Tyreek Hill. So it's Sammy Watkins, DeMarcus Robinson, Sammy Coates. That's their wide receivers right now. I guess they have Travis Kelce, so it doesn't.
Right.
That is their other guy. And Damian Williams can catch the ball. So
I mean, they'll be able to run the ball and do a lot of the same things, but yeah, I mean, it definitely hurts them.
Ah, man, Tyreek Hill needs to go. Like, I can't. Okay, they released Kareem Hunt basically because he lied to him. That's what it seems like, right? Because he lied about him. I'll lose my voice. Because he lied about what he actually did. Tyreek Hill's probably obviously lied to them. He hasn't told them what he actually did. And so if they're finding this out, which to me, okay, Kareem Hunt thing, I saw the video. Yes, it wasn't great for him, obviously. But it's not this.
No. And I'll be honest, when I saw it, I was expecting, and maybe because there's been such terrible things that have happened, and you start thinking Ray Rice and stuff, which was just sickening. I watched the Hunt thing and I'm like, that it's not good, but also
this is still worse. This is worse.
Comparatively, I was kind of like, I was surprised they released him. I thought that actually was kind of like you suspend him for a few games and make sure that he stays on the straight and narrow. But this is a different one. If Kareem Hunt got kicked off, I can't imagine a world where he stays on the team.
No, he can't. They've already set the example by getting rid of Kareem Hunt. They set the example. Tyreek Hill has to go. He has to. And I don't see a team picking the guy up. This isn't. If he gets released for this, you can't pick that guy up.
No, I don't.
You can't.
I don't see how you could.
I get why Kareem Hunt got picked back up. I do understand the Kareem Hunt thing.
Yeah, and he still had, in 8 games?
8 game suspension. Man, Tyreek Hill, there's no way. He can't come back from that.
And the Chargers' pick is in, and they went with Jerry Tillery, the defensive tackle from Notre Dame. So
sorry,
that
just sounds boring.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
But finally, we're getting to 4 teams that I'm actually interested in, just to see what they do.
Well, what
Seattle,
if the Rams were the running back here?
That would blow my mind.
They won't. Sorry, all you Todd Gurley haters, which is a random thing that's occurred. There's a lot of them. Like fantasy analysts, or so-called fantasy analysts, I see that I won't even touch. I won't even pick Gurley in the first round. This is a thing. This is a real thing.
We don't have enough information for that. That's crazy talk.
There's one of them that apparently I'm going to be in a league with this guy. I'm sorry. It's in one of the Instagram leagues, and he was saying I won't touch him in the first 2 rounds. I mean, come on, people. Come on. I went over this before, but after he came back in his first playoff game, he was great. And then obviously there was some issues. The knee wasn't right. Yes, he was hurt. Obviously, he was hurt. This isn't before they were all worried because all of a sudden it was like C.J. Anderson was going to take away work from him, which is the stupidest thing in the world.
I'm so glad that got put to bed immediately.
Yeah, but he was hurt. You know what? There may be some lingering knee issues there. Maybe there probably is. There's probably something. But you know what? I don't think it's going to make a difference. I think he's going to be perfectly fine. There might be. Maybe he doesn't get quite the workload he did. Maybe. I could see that. But he's going to be fine. Saying you're not going to draft him in the first 2 rounds, in the first round, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you gonna pick Joe Mixon over Todd Gurley? I like Joe Mixon. I like him more than most people. No way. I would never even. You couldn't even consider that. Like, what are you people doing? I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. It's this reactionary stuff, man. Just like last year. Remember, you couldn't rank Todd Gurley number one again. You couldn't pick him number one because he finished number one the last year. Can't ever happen again. So you can't do that.
But we did, and he was.
Yeah, I mean, like, just come on, people. Like, it's ridiculous. I mean, I guess what if you want to pick Saquon Barkley number one? Sure, but I worry about that team. I'm worried about that team a little bit.
Yeah,
I like Barkley's great, but
yeah, I think if you're picking Elliott and Barkley, cool. You know what I mean? But I can't imagine.
Here we go. Gurley is now 6th in running back rankings right now in Fantasy Pros.
Who is going above him? So
Barkley, Zeke, McCaffrey, Kamara, Gordon.
Okay, the first two, I get that. That's fine. They're beasts. They're going to get a giant workload. They're younger. All of that checks out. I'm all good with that. Then you get to Christian McCaffrey, who did break out a little bit. He broke out a lot. Yeah, and he's a very good player. And if you're in PPR, I understand that as well, maybe. I still wouldn't do it, probably. I love Kamara as much as the next guy, but Gurley's beat him 2 straight years. I can't imagine, them upping his workload, even though they did get rid of Ingram. But they already give him a ton of touches, both receiving and rushing.
Yep.
And Gordon is probably the one I have the most issue with, because Gordon also got hurt last year. He is a TD machine, but I think they're the most comparable, and Gurley is just a better back on a team that is absolutely just streamlining the offense to perfection. So personally, I wouldn't let him drop past number 3 with the information that we have. But even in that scenario, maybe fall to number 4. I don't know.
We have Brad Evans from Yahoo Sports ranks him number 11.
In running back?
Yeah.
What?
I did beat Brad Evans last year in an Instagram versus Twitter league with being led by Todd Gurley. He was my number 1 pick. And I did win that league despite his injury, because I also drafted Christian McCaffrey in the 2nd. So, yeah, did well. But I beat Brad Evans there. Another guy I'm going to be in a league with this year, Smitty from the Fantasy Football Show. And he has Gurley 9th. So, Dalton Del Don from Yahoo Sports has Gurley 14th at running back.
How much do you think that, once again, this will all be proven or confirmed? I mean, how quickly is he going to just jump up?
I honestly don't think he will.
You don't think that he's going to rise back up the boards if his knee checks out?
Somewhat, but I think there's still going to be these people that aren't going to believe it for some reason. They're not going to say because Gurley's probably not going to get a lot of work in the preseason.
Yeah,
we're not going to see it.
Why would you, though?
He's not. It makes sense why he wouldn't, but the people are going to read into that and say, "Oh, he's not right." And I'm okay with this. If I get Gurley later, great. If I have a pick like 6th in the draft and I get Todd Gurley, I love life. I feel good about it. I don't get this. I don't get the whole Gurley thing.
I'm gonna laugh so hard. It's gonna be like me talking all this crap, and then in the first round they're gonna take a running back, and I'll be like,
oh yeah, like, all right, there's something wrong. That would be the
panic.
I mean, Barkley though, Barkley is no worse than 2nd right now in the ranks. Here for either 1st or 2nd, which actually almost surprises me that he hasn't dropped a 3rd in any of them. Like, there's not one that has, like, I guess anymore, because it would be like Gurley and Zeke, but I guess no one's buying the Gurley thing anymore. I don't get it. It just, not sure. I don't know. But Seattle's about to pick, it looks like, in just a minute here. Man, I didn't talk about the draft for a while, but there hasn't been a pick. They've slowed down here all of a sudden. But I'm trying to look at some ranks here. Devontae Adams is up to the number 2 wide receiver in the current ranks. How about that?
Who?
Devontae Adams, number 2. Number 2 wide receiver.
I don't have an issue with that. I like Devontae Adams. I liked him last year.
He's moved
Aaron
up.
Rodgers' number 1 target has always done very, very
Juju's number 6.
well. I love Juju, obviously.
Travis Kelce, number 1 tight end.
Should be.
But overall, number 16. early second round now.
Oh, I gotcha. I mean, I have a hard time taking a tight end that early.
So
But at
Kelsey's
the same time, he is,
he's ahead of Dalvin Cook, Juju Smith-Schuster, Antonio Brown.
you're taking a guy that will give you an advantage and a quite a large advantage on the majority of other teams that you play. I mean, there's really only a couple other guys that can really rival him, and they're not even guaranteed things. So I understand why he is so high, but you definitely have to plan very carefully if you decide to take a tight end in the early second round.
I know we talked about who knows what Kansas City's going to have there, but would you go with are the tight ends that much better than the rest than like a Patrick Mahomes, Mahomes is ranked below, overall ranks, below Kelsey, below Kittle, and below Ertz. Do you believe it? Would you go with Mahomes before you went with one of those tight ends, or do you think the tight ends are more valuable?
Well,
To me, it's probably, if anything, it's only Kelsey. It would not be Kittle and Ertz.
well, definitely not Ertz. Yeah, I would actually agree with you. It definitely is only Kelsey, and I'll be honest. The Tyreek Hill news,
It does.
it definitely hurts him a bit, and maybe that only if he's probably still going to be the number one quarterback, but it probably delays where he goes a little bit because you're thinking that he won't have quite as big of a gap between him and number two. Which I mean, there's a lot to love about a lot of the other quarterbacks coming up, including and not more so than Luck, which who knows, they could actually add to that offense, which was on fire, last year. So, Mahomes should still be number one. It's just very difficult to recreate what he did last year. I mean,
yeah, it's true.
he broke a ton of records, and he was just out of this planet. And yeah, if we knew that he was going to repeat that, he should easily be picked in the second round, and he should be picked above Kelsey. But we don't know that, and I totally understand where you can wait, get a QB, not lose a ton if he has a little bit of a regression, and then you get Kittle, which more than likely will help you gain points every week.
Yeah, probably. Let's see here. I'm trying to see if Seattle made their pick yet.
No, pick is in, but they have not announced it yet. So Seattle is also, their pick is in, and they're also on the clock.
That's always an interesting one. Let's just, come on, just make them both at the same time. Right? I mean, they can. The problem is they could let the clock expire because it doesn't make a difference because they're the next ones up.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that would be funny.
They could just do what they wanted, but I want to see their pick here quick and then probably wrap it up.
Yeah.
That's about all I got. I just want to see Seattle's pick, see if they do something here.
I'm going to laugh. Their second pick will probably be the wide receiver, and their first pick will be a defensive player, and then we won't get there.
I mean, they can just wait. They can wait till the end of that. They can take all 20 minutes if they want before they make a pick, which maybe they'll do that just to anger us all. I mean, is that what they're doing? They're kind of like upsetting me here. It's taking a long time.
You forget about this every year. So, as we wait for this final pick before we end this podcast, is there anyone that you're excited to see get drafted tomorrow in the next few rounds?
DK Metcalf. Honestly, I'm very interested in him.
Like, where is he going to go?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious how that's going to work out with him.
Where would be a good landing spot for him? Because he does need to be polished, obviously. He's just a physical freak at the moment. Where do you think would be a good landing spot, and where do you think a landing spot where he could actually be fantasy viable?
Patriots at number 32.
That would be pretty amazing.
It's not going to happen.
No, I don't think it will either.
But there's teams that need him in the second. I mean, honestly, I don't know how great it would be for him if I even like it, but the Redskins need that wide receiver. I mean, the Packers could draft a wide receiver in the second.
I mean, honestly, maybe the Patriots really could use him. I know they don't usually use a top pick on him, but you're number 32. And let's be honest, who do they have at wide receiver? I mean, they did get Demaryius Thomas. You still have Edelman, but you lost Gronk. So you could use another big wide receiver, and definitely young, because Hogan is on a different team now.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, Dorsett is there, right?
I mean, okay, the Cardinals pick at 33. They could use a wide receiver,
They
too.
could definitely use a wide receiver.
I mean, they did draft Kirk last year, but wasn't, they definitely could use another one.
Well,
Fitzgerald's about done.
Obviously you're going full bore with the offense and the type of players you want. So it wouldn't surprise me, but it also wouldn't surprise me if they took someone else that is a better route runner and they left Metcalf out there. That wouldn't surprise me either.
Let's see, early in the second, how about the 49ers going to wide receiver?
That would, man.
If like a Metcalf is there.
They would actually have a very scary, even though I think far too loaded running back situation, but they would have a very good offense because you would have Kittle, you would have Garoppolo, you would have a crap ton of running backs. I'm not even going to name them all. And then you have what? Goodwin, Pettis, and then your number one or your the wide receiver that they get in the draft as well. That would be formidable. And obviously they also got Bosa, which I freaking love in this draft, which obviously is on the defensive side of the ball. But San Francisco is doing a lot of really good stuff.
Yeah, that could be a good spot. But all right, screw the Seahawks. I'm going to wrap this up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They're just going to wait forever. But all right, that'll do. Next week we'll take the whole draft. We'll go not every pick by pick, but we'll go every fantasy relevant player. We'll talk about everything, first round through seventh. We'll talk about everybody who hopefully looks like in the second round we'll start seeing some players get drafted here. So we'll go over all that next week. Talk to you guys then.